1,500 Ways to Escape the Human Jungle. Written by Vernon Howard and read by ALIO Voices. Introduction. Let this book guide your life. Every great idea can be stated in a single sentence, and should be. One clear and true sentence can be worth more than a library of books. You now have in your possession the simplified secret wisdoms of the ages. Here are 4 ways to use this audiobook for rich results. 1. Listen with a relaxed and yet alert mind, connecting these truths with your own needs and questions. Write down the numbers of those offering special help and review them often, listening as often as you need to. You may wish to even memorize your favorites. 2. See the practical accuracy of these teachings. For example, notice how precisely they describe human nature. Realize that the presented solutions are equally accurate. Test them freely in daily affairs. Let them work for you, which they are eager to do. 3. Refer to the reading programs listed in the video description or in the comments section of this video book. Read the listed sentences and absorb their messages deeply, as needed, according to topic or subject of choice. 4. Join or form a study group for discussing these higher principles. We must get to the point in our lives. What is the point? To become a new kind of man or woman, having inner command and outer excellence. We can live with mental independence of the human jungles, even while active in it. This book guides you toward the kind of life you have always wanted, so release its powers into your day and enjoy your new life. Vernon Howard. 1,500 Ways to Escape the Human Jungle. Chapter 1. Strange Facts About the Human Jungle. An explorer was lost in the jungles of South America. He struck out in a dozen different directions, but none of them led anywhere. He finally studied a narrow canyon which at first had appeared valueless, but his exploration proved that it was the road leading back to camp. You can have a similar experience. If baffled by life, simply remember that the answer exists in a totally new direction. The purpose of Chapter 1 is to start you off in the direction leading to the truly worthwhile. Your first 100 steps will acquaint you with the human jungle as it exists in fact. Have no concern if these descriptions of human life seem surprising or shocking or different from your present views. The right road always seems surprising at first, but this very surprise is also your first invitation to a much loftier level of living. Choose freedom. Choose freedom from the human jungle. That is all you need to do in order to start. Your very choice is an expression of affection for the true and the happy. Reflect on the words of Henry David Thoreau. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of a man to elevate his life by a conscious endeavor. Now step forward with a conscious endeavor to understand human life in order to change your life. Strange Facts About the Human Jungle. 1. Human society is simply men and women pretending that the game of pretense is not going on. 2. Humanity appreciates truth about as much as a squirrel appreciates silver. 3. If you think that his or her happy face is a mask covering unhappiness, you are right. 4. What most men call their conscience is imaginary virtue switching left or right according to self-interest. 5. Observe a man's behavior when told unpleasant truths about himself, and you will really know the man. 6. Man has a perfect device for maintaining his darkness, and that device is to say that darkness is light. 7. When someone says he wants to help you, try to see where he wants to help himself. 8. If a man does not understand what it means to be under psychic hypnosis, he is under it. 9. See once and for all that human affairs can improve only when minds awaken from psychic hypnosis. 10. The good performed by awakened individuals is never seen nor appreciated by hypnotized humanity. 11. Your friends will be as careless with your life as they are with their own. 12. Few people realize that other people see them in a totally different way than they see themselves. 13. Calling the wrong the right cannot make a man feel right, and how strange that he never notices this. 14. When someone insists he knows the truth about life, ask him why he needs to nervously insist. 15. Humanity rejects truth, like a hungry man who refuses bread because his dizzy mind thinks it is wood. 16. People wish kindness, yet are incredibly unkind toward themselves by their rejection of truth. 17. When surface personality talks about spiritual matters, it distorts everything, never knowing what it is doing against itself and against others. 18. Argument is a valuable evasion of truth to those who prefer religion to truth. 19. When someone lacks the intelligence to try to understand, he covers it up by criticizing. 20. No one is nice unless he can be so without nice possessions and nice advantages. What millions miss. 21. Unawakened men by the millions pass an awakened man on the street and never know what they have passed by. 22. Artificiality can be detected by the way its smiles turn to scowls when it is questioned. 23. By wrongly believing that something is necessary and vital, we miss the truly necessary and vital. 24. The truly necessary and vital is to realize that we are here on earth to rise above ourselves. 25. The greater a man's distance from rightness, the closer he will claim to be. 26. It is a great mistake to believe that the evil get away with it, for they are their own punishment. 27. People say they wish to do heaven's will, and how curious that it is the same thing they want to do. 28. Strangely, man loves his mental fog more than he loves the effort which could dissolve it. 29. It is a healthy shock to deeply see how few people really want to change inwardly. 30. Imaginary life has great power to control and wreck people because it insists it is not imaginary life. 31. One person who blocks his escape is the person who believes he has already escaped. 32. The simplest of facts are unseen by man. For instance, believing that we understand and actual understanding are as different as night and noon. 33. An angel can never be deceived by a demon, but a demon is constantly deceived by other demons. 34. A demon consists of a negative thought, a cherished delusion, a clever falsehood, a destructive emotion. 35. The worst decision in life is to choose egotism over the opportunity to wake up. 36. Society will always deceive you when you ask it, what is life all about? 37. A million people can declare that wrong is right, but all will suffer from the wrongness. 38. Man leans on his frail opinions and then wonders why he always feels about to fall. 39. Conflict and despair dwell in a man to the precise degree that he cannot be told what he is really like. 40. Everyone who foolishly marches in step with the mechanical masses proudly believes he is independent. The basic human mistake. 41. The basic human mistake can be explained by saying that men and women live from imaginary identities instead of from their real natures. 42. The cruel taskmaster is nothing more than a man's own psychic ignorance, which he covers by calling it wisdom. 43. Immature man is like a frightened child, alone in a darkening room, not seeing the nearby light switch. 44. Notice how individuals and organizations do the opposite of their promise, and you will begin to understand human nature. 45. When weak people pretend to be strong, they do the one thing that prevents attainment of real strength. 46. Having strong personal beliefs derived from social conditioning is not at all the same as having a clear conscience derived from cosmic consciousness. 47. When told that men live in delusion, everyone thinks he is the exception, which is part of his delusion. 48. It is a waste of time to preach to a bat about the glories of sunshine. 49. One of man's most amazing self-deceptions is his pretense of having self-control while his life flies apart before his very eyes. 50. A successful day for many people is one in which no one discovered what he is really thinking. 51. A true teaching explains what life is all about, while a false teaching hides what it is all about. 52. Can you think of anything more ridiculous than praising and paying people who lead you astray? 53. Remember, the human jungle is thick with deceptive signs which describe it as a nice and sincere place. 54. A man's failure to question the ideas by which he lives keeps his life as it is. 55. No one can demand to live according to his fantasies and then demand that someone else pay for their unhappy consequences. 56. One man is the echo of the next man, both wrongly assuming they are original sources. 57. Truth replies only when first hearing sincere questions, and how few it hears. 58. The reason people are frustrated is simply because a lie cannot be turned into a truth. 59. A confused mind calls itself a clear mind, and that explains the entire human horror story. 60. Those who pretend to know the truth have no choice but to try to deceive and injure you. A courageous statement. 61. These teachings are for those who state, I have played the self-deceiving game long enough and am tired of it. 62. A type of sheep-like conformity rarely realized by people is the conformity of being deluded. 63. When society praises loyalty, it is simply pledging allegiance to its own neurosis. 64. The more contradictions in a man, the more he likes to accuse others of having contradictions. 65. The refusal of rescue can take many forms, as with the preference for bitterness over insight. 66. What vanity calls personal choice is simply the attraction or repulsion of exterior things. 67. A chief feature of false life is that it cannot stand alone, but frantically demands allies to support its false positions. 68. A real conscience is as high above society's moralities as a star is above a sheep. 69. Nothing in the world is what it seems because the viewer himself is not what he seems. 70. A person immersed in psychic sleep will always deny it, for his very sleep prevents him from hearing about and understanding his actual condition. 71. People who make the human jungle the horror that it is often pose as experts in escaping it. 72. Truth can be explained with simple words, but deluded man thinks that the obscure is the profound. 73. A simple admission that one's life does not make sense as now lived could be the great turning point. 74. What do you expect from a world that glorifies weakness by calling it strength? 75. A weak person's duty is to try to shove his responsibilities onto you, and your duty is to refuse them. 76. A man's wish to exploit other people is his unconscious invitation to other people to exploit him in return. 77. Demons disguised as angels will always claim that angels are demons disguised as angels. 78. Self-deception is so subtle that perhaps one person in a million really understands its danger. 79. The great test of sincerity is whether we are willing to hear about and examine self-deception. 80. A false path must be tensely and angrily defended by those it has deceived. The banquet is ready. 81. The banquet is always on the table, but hungry men and women refuse to approach. 82. A man lacking courage to make his own decisions will have plenty of nerve to criticize the decisions of others. 83. Can a person who remains in secret, internal confusion ever do what is truly right for himself? 84. If your friends want to angrily fight life, you can only let them do so while you live above life. 85. Confused humanity mistakes mere movement for progress, but real progress must include an awakening of inner essence. 86. Remember, destructive egotism never calls itself egotism, but masquerades as love, generosity, helpfulness. 87. If heaven existed as a physical building on earth, human beings would remodel it to make it right. 88. One of society's absurd delusions is that the spending of money can cure something. 89. It is possible to have ideas of cosmic quality, and they alone can do good to the world. 90. Anyone lacking the ability to listen cannot listen when told of his inability to listen. 91. One cunning trick of false light is to solemnly warn you against false light. 92. Cosmic sunshine exists to those who have learned to drop their strange love for shadows. 93. Trying to change conditions without changing ourselves is as impossible as dry water. 94. A chief feature of an unawakened human being is his lack of interest in anything above his own neurosis. 95. The healing facts can penetrate a hard mind about as easily as roses can penetrate a brick wall. 96. Where the human mind sees great heroes and dangerous villains, reality sees one mass of equally lost human beings. 97. Only those who honestly admit they are lost are capable of finding themselves. 98. Is the truly sincere person the one who is trying to save the world, or the one trying to save himself from himself? 99. Anyone can discover what his life on earth is all about once he chooses self-discovery over self-glory. 100. The jungle will not change, but you can change. So start today with good cheer. Chapter 2. The New Land Beyond the Human Jungle. A class of schoolchildren were on a guided tour of a lighthouse on the coast of Scotland. A lad asked his teacher, "How can ships see the light through a heavy storm?" The teacher explained, "The light can pass through the storm because it is not part of the storm." It is a provable fact that you can pass untouched through the exterior storms of life. How? Find and live from that real and permanent part of yourself that is not part of the human storm. And how can you do that? Collect clues as to the nature of this new and peaceful land beyond the human jungle. Take number 138 from this chapter, for instance. Collected knowledge brings into sight the cosmic castle which was formerly beyond our vision. Now suppose you have a problem with someone. What knowledge can begin to carry you safely through the difficulty? This chapter alone contains dozens of guides for this problem. For example, you will learn to look beyond your usual methods for calming a crisis to new and effective techniques. Or you will see that sex, while a powerful force, comes under the command of a clear mind. Thirdly, you might realize the startling fact that other people are exploiting you in the name of friendship, which sets you free. The new land is a paradise growing many fruits of wisdom. Sail for it now. The new land beyond the human jungle. 101. The secret of celestial success is to let right motives use right ideas for right rewards. 102. We win the opportunity to go beyond ourselves by learning to look beyond ourselves. 103. When emerging from the jungle, we find that sex no longer creates problems. 104. Whoever suspects he may be trapped by his own cherished illusions is beginning to break the trap. 105. Remind yourself daily that the way the world goes is not the way you really want to go. 106. God, truth, reality can communicate in total silence as well as with words, so have a silent and receptive mind. 107. A real reward reveals itself every time you see through a false reward, such as flattery. 108. Escape from the human jungle is an inner action, unseen and unapplauded by the jungle inhabitants. 109. Bravely pass through the wilderness within, after which you will reach the colorful meadow within. 110. As we escape the rules of our habitual nature, we come under the healthy rules of our cosmic nature. 111. Realize that spiritual sight exists just as definitely as seeing with the eyes. 112. Truth is invisible gold, which can be seen only by those who have developed their cosmic vision. 113. Cosmic insight enables you to know 100 facts about a person by reading his face. 114. Awareness of how easily life can hit and hurt us is the first course in the Cosmic College. 115. We are never required to be important or impressive or needed, but required only to be right. 116. When the words submission and domination have no place in your life, you are out of the jungle. 117. Truth never plays false roles of any kind, which is why people are so surprised when meeting it. 118. Help yourself by thinking about these ideas every possible moment and by creating more thoughtful moments. 119. Each time you question the necessity of a troubled day, you weaken the necessity for a troubled day. 120. Ask for anything that is really right, and it will begin to travel toward you. The miracle within. 121. The inner miracle can happen all right, providing we go into energetic interaction. 122. Simply suspect that you do not consist of your acquired ideas about yourself, and the inner miracle begins. 123. Responsibility for your own cosmic maturity is the only responsibility you have on earth. 124. Right responsibility for yourself is right responsibility toward others. 125. Raise your own consciousness even 1 inch, and you perform an act of genuine compassion for others. 126. Consistently use the bit of insight you now have toward self-awakening, and more will be added. 127. Contact with God or truth or reality is the same as blending with your own authentic nature. 128. Everyone who has escaped the jungle is aware of his former strange fondness for the jungle's falseness. 129. A daring and helpful question to ask is, what am I really like inwardly? 130. It is our awareness of mental boundaries that carries us beyond them. 131. Everyone must decide whether he wants the uncompromising truth or a counterfeit version of truth. 132. Pass through the temporary emptiness of not having the answers, and it will be filled with the answer. 133. Anyone who can be told he is on the wrong path is already approaching the right path. 134. Determined to learn to think rightly toward everything, even if unaware of where it may lead. 135. People who fear to leave their childish ways will always criticize your decision to seek the new nation. 136. Real wisdom consists of recommending the truth to yourself at every opportunity. 137. A real teacher tells you to do things you cannot understand because he can see things you cannot see. 138. Collected knowledge brings into sight the cosmic castle which was formerly beyond our vision. 139. The true view supplies a new kind of thrill that may appear to depart, but never does. 140. Dull aches cannot follow us into tomorrow once we learn how to cancel them today. Teach yourself the right way. 141. Everyone is either teaching himself how to wander in the wilderness or how to return home. 142. Your present social condition of any kind can be used as an aid in spiritual progress. 143. To gain real riches, you must never ask society to explain the nature of real riches. 144. A cosmically sane man dwelling quietly in society is worth more than 1,000,000 screamers for reform. 145. You are much stronger than the human jungle, and it is your happy task to realize this. 146. God, truth, reality, does not want you to be scared of anything, which is why it requests your earnest attention to the healing messages. 147. Either the real can conquer the false or it cannot, but it just so happens that it can. 148. These facts, which at first appear strange and challenging, will one day be seen as the only real friends we ever had. 149. You can do something good for yourself only after seeing that your usual nature can do nothing good for you. 150. These teachings start you in a new direction, and eventually you will see refreshing sights on all sides. 151. Offered truth arouses right feelings in those who already have a seed of truth within themselves. 152. Rescue begins at the moment one discovers that his truth is not the truth. 153. Change what you are, for what you are determines the quality or non-quality of both today and tomorrow. 154. Keeping others in psychological prison is exactly what maintains self-imprisonment. 155. Self-release comes with insight, after which we quietly release others from our demands. 156. Those who have talked themselves into accepting fantasy as fact must now stop talking and begin to listen. 157. We can listen to our mechanical mind, or we can listen to something new, and everything depends upon our decision. 158. Your basic objection to society's darkness is correct, but go higher to where it cannot hurt you. 159. The reason a man must awaken is because it is dangerous to sleep, as the man's present life proves. 160. Truth comes as a vague sensing at first, like hearing a familiar voice in the next room, but being unable to connect it with the face. A higher world exists. 161. It is a provable fact that another world exists above the borders of your usual mind. 162. Ponder simple truths. For example, something exists which is higher than our usual desires. 163. Starting now, place your own life ahead of the cunning demands of people who scheme to use you. 164. Using others and being used by others has no place in the life of the enlightened person. 165. Just as the seed contains the undeveloped blossom, so does every individual contain true life ready for development. 166. When even one small part of you takes on the nature of the whole truth, you are on the upward trail. 167. First turn away from what you presently see, and you will then see wonders you never knew existed. 168. If you do not know what you should be alert, be aware, be awake. 169. The first step toward practical self-knowledge is to realize that something is dreadfully wrong, and the second step is to sense that all can be made right. 170. We begin to awaken from the nightmare the moment we refuse to continue to call it a lovely dream. 171. These teachings are a new kind of psychic food, which provides a unique inner nutrition. 172. Fixed ideas are just fine for building a house or cooking a meal, but are barriers to the inner kingdom. 173. The road to reality is traveled successfully by those who once dared to depart from friends who preferred to remain in the desert of delusion. 174. Realize that you must know something, but never assume that you know what you must know. 175. Do not expect the new world to resemble the old world, and you will enter the new. 176. A sensible question is any question that wants to know what life is really all about. 177. One bridge by which you cross over to self-newness is called teachability. 178. One day you will sense that your usual nature is incapable of revealing the other world, at which point the other world will begin to reveal itself to you. 179. Strengthen the part of you that wants truth above all else, and watch the happy results. 180. To be in right relationship with others means to be cosmically right within yourself, regardless of how others behave. Something beautiful and intelligent. 181. It is beautiful and intelligent to go through each day with the aim to learn more about the higher life. 182. An owl who has escaped the jungle is never again deceived by parrots who call themselves owls. 183. A free man is free because at one point in his life he became willing to hear what he did not want to hear. 184. The aim is to have a cosmic conscience, which is not the same as behavior approved by society, which is hypocrisy. 185. Understand that your personal world is not the entire world, and you will perceive the whole world. 186. When ceasing to think in our usual way, we cease to exist in our usual way, and that is the entire secret of self-liberation. 187. Just as a vigorous shake can awaken a sleeping man, a severe crisis, rightly used, can start cosmic awakening. 188. The reason we seek true mental maturity is because immaturity keeps us secretly unhappy. 189. Just to see that you do not presently understand what it means to change inwardly can start that great change. 190. Repeat to yourself, whether aware of it or not, I am inwardly asleep, but can awaken to true life. 191. Try to realize your need of a totally different viewpoint toward life, which exists as surely as the sun. 192. There is nothing scary about losing the battle against truth, for that defeat is true victory. 193. Though unable to receive truth, a willingness to be able will finally succeed for us. 194. Ordinary thought appears to unite us with truth, but in fact, it separates us. 195. Cosmic consciousness, which is not the same as ordinary thought, unites us with both truth and our own essence. 196. You can define cosmic consciousness as a higher way of seeing life, a way having no negativities. 197. The reward for having a true existence is the departure of the penalties of not having a true existence. 198. The new way can be found, and to review these guides to it is right self-encouragement. 199. Obstacles now blocking self-newness have no permanence, but will finally yield before your right actions. 200. Explore these principles with the zeal of an adventurer who has entered a new and wondrous land. Chapter 3. How to make your escape a pleasure. Imagine yourself strolling down a street, and you come to a corner. In one direction you hear a mob shouting and quarreling loudly. In the second direction you hear the crashing noise of industrial machines. But from a third direction comes the sound of beautiful music. Do you have any problem in deciding which way to go? Of course not. There is no struggle with the decision. There is something within you that harmonizes with the music, that makes you want to go toward it. In this chapter you will hear the pleasurable call to self-harmony. Like the prodigal son, the urge to return to the true kingdom can be heard by all who are weary of wandering. Reflect for a moment. What is more pleasurable than knowing that we are escaping the jittery jungle at last? What is more fun than to toss off the burdens of tension and worry? What is more delightful than to feel ourselves returning to our relaxed, real nature? And remember, the truly pleasurable is also the truly practical. Nothing is more practical than these royal facts. Apply them to every area of daily life and experience healing. Ask them to prove themselves in a personal frustration or a haunting insecurity, and they will know what to do and will tell you. Let this chapter reveal the real meaning of pleasure, the lasting and effortless pleasure of self-wholeness. How to make your escape a pleasure. 201. Change your direction today, and tomorrow you will not meet the griefs you would have met. 202. When free of pouncing upon ourselves, we are also immune to the pouncing of others. 203. Place the practical before the pleasurable, and the practical will become the pleasurable. 204. The truly practical person is one who is trying to understand and end his inner warfare. 205. Be glad when useless paths are exposed as useless, for now you can walk the worthwhile path you really want. 206. It should be a positive delight to destroy false rewards in order to find the real reward. 207. Wondering about whether other people can help you is not a very pleasant way to spend a life. 208. Wondering whether there might be something else is a very pleasant way to start a new life. 209. A man must see that the price he pays for remaining in dreamland is much too high. 210. The one way to stop paying the price is to feel absolutely appalled that you are. 211. It is unnecessary to obey any arising reaction which tells us to act against our true interest. 212. As insight advances, you find self-injury and self-accusation occurring less and less. 213. Notice how outer actions cause your inner reactions, then strive for inner independence. 214. By not traveling with the deluded crowd, you will not fall when it falls. 215. Realize that all the energy wasted in heartache and regret can be used to generate cosmic light. 216. When truth cuts off our escapes into fantasies, it shows us how much it cares. 217. Perform one right inner action each day, and you will see the psychic scenery grow greener. 218. Whether presently realized or not, you can win over every difficulty in life, providing you are willing to win in a new way. 219. Winning in a new way consists of seeing that a problem resides in wrong thinking, which cosmic insight can correct. 220. Secret suffering can be understood, and it must be understood if it is to come to an end. Enjoy great relief. 221. The person who wins over himself enjoys great relief and not having to win over others. 222. These teachings provide a new and pleasant feeling towards oneself based in reality, not imagination. 223. Your essence always knows what is best for you, so recover it by dropping the surface self. 224. You can escape the human jungle by daring to disbelieve society when it talks about love. 225. Society knows as much about authentic love as a jungle beast knows about a rainbow. 226. End the jungle within oneself, and the exterior jungle has no more terrors. 227. Thoroughly and enjoyably examine one lesson at a time, having no concern over the next lesson. 228. One purpose of these teachings is to help us to no longer live by the ideas which have caused so much grief. 229. Stop apologizing for yourself and start understanding yourself and see what a difference it makes. 230. It is not cynical to see through the masks of men, but the beginning of real liberty. 231. Walk calmly away from anyone whose manner threatens, "Give me what I demand, or I will cause trouble." 232. Allow the inner instructor to guide you toward the inner treasure. 233. Do not listen to the fear of letting go of yourself, and you will soon hear something refreshing. 234. Since you are a different person than you imagine, you have a higher intelligence than you imagine. 235. The artificial self feels surrounded by enemies, while the real self enjoys a pleasant stroll. 236. Egotism is pain, and the only way to end it is to cease to believe that the world revolves around one's petty life. 237. Whether an individual knows it or not, there is another way, and it is his true pleasure to know it. 238. A successful day consists of seeing something about yourself in the evening that you did not see in the morning. 239. When a man becomes truthful about his motives, he starts to free himself of self-harming motives. 240. While inner work is challenging, it is also cheery, for we are finding what we always wanted to find. An astonishing secret. 241. These teachings reveal the astonishing secret of how to be truly valuable to yourself. 242. We need not fear the exposure of a pretense, but should be glad that another chain has fallen. 243. Have a cosmic plan for your life, then watch how earthly plans go smoothly. 244. Unpleasant facts about human nature are not personal problems to those who see them with a cosmic insight. 245. It is just as unnecessary to remain with an unpleasant feeling as with an unpleasant person. 246. You cannot stop destructive actions by others, but you can stop your own destructive reactions to them. 247. Anyone who spoils the sleep which we take as consciousness is doing us the favor of our lives. 248. If you want a right feeling, do something right with yourself. For instance, invite rescuing facts. 249. Intelligence is rising when one sees that human solutions only increase the problem. 250. Each time you consciously risk rejection, you add another pearl in your cosmic treasury. 251. Sincere action toward a dim truth will brighten your perception of it. 252. Sincere action is any movement motivated by a wish to see what you do not presently see. 253. Truth's compassion is beautifully apparent when it asks, "What are you doing to help yourself?" 254. Ignore completely what other people want for themselves in this life and want only wholeness for yourself. 255. Right progress consists of an orderly and satisfying release of your own rays of covered light. 256. The truly practical and the truly spiritual are exactly the same thing. 257. Think of the inner path as an interesting adventure, for in fact, nothing in life is more interesting. 258. Some people start the path by departing from activities in which they only pretend to have an interest. 259. To reflect about one's confusion is a healthy and honest act leading to mental clearness. 260. It is possible to think in a winning way toward difficulties, so seek that satisfying way. Have cosmic boldness. 261. Be audacious in your effort to see what it is necessary and possible to see. 262. Replace "I have something to fear" with "I have something to learn." 263. Above the shallow pleasures of life which fade away is the permanent pleasure of living who you really are. 264. Fear of inner discovery makes as much sense as fearing to leave a sinking ship for the voyage to solid land. 265. Realize that the false self makes problems out of everything, and then ask whether you want its company. 266. True pleasure consists of the steady replacement of the imaginary self by the real self. 267. Truth is absolutely delighted with anyone who walks toward it, while simply wondering what it is all about. 268. Sincerity supplies the two rewards of simplifying your task and making it enjoyable. 269. The last thing falsehood wants you to do is question it, so question it. 270. What a relief to discover we need not do all those things we thought were our social duties. 271. See beyond self-descriptive labels, such as wife or businessman or winner or loser, and see yourself as a free human being without labels. 272. Since problems arise from psychic hypnosis, it makes perfect sense to probe the nature of this hypnosis. 273. To rescue yourself, you must first stop trying to save the world, which does not want to be saved anyway. 274. Everyone who lives on the mountain peak once saw the folly of trying to save others before saving himself. 275. The secret of progress is to stop alternating between mistake and guilt, to start alternating between mistake and learning. 276. Will you trust a religion or philosophy that does not produce a truly poised and decent human being? 277. When really turning toward truth, you will feel truth turning toward you. 278. Have confidence in these teachings by seeing how accurately they describe human lunacy. 279. Today, take a long step forward by no longer permitting negative people to influence you in any way. 280. Delusions end only when the deluded realizes that his supposed rewards were really punishments. An incredible reality. 281. It is an incredible reality that all we are asked to give up is whatever is making us unhappy. 282. Become very curious that there might be much more to life than you now see, for there is. 283. Truth cordially welcomes anyone who searches for it, no matter how awkward the search. 284. Use mental discipline rightly by seeing that life's answers can never be found in dispute. 285. The answers which exist above dispute reveal themselves to anyone who willingly drops dispute. 286. A main reason for pursuing these facts is that they supply new personal qualities. 287. The last thought that should occupy your mind is whether or not other people want to accompany you on the upward path. 288. The reason we must break out of ourselves is that it is so painful to live with ourselves. 289. Taking the initiative towards self-change arouses objections from the old ways, which is exactly why we should take it. 290. Think deeply about the fact that you can learn to not be your own unhappy states. 291. Beware of those who use your fears to exploit you, for the human jungle is thick with such people. 292. Reach beyond your usual thinking for the right answers, and you will find them. 293. As sure as sunshine, a new world exists within you, having a new kind of delight. 294. A sleeping mind reacts from its confusion, while an awakened mind understands from its clearness. 295. You are now learning to walk down a single path instead of many frustrating and contradictory paths. 296. The quality of a life can be raised solely by uplifting the quality of the mind. 297. As false thrills fade before self-insight, new and true inspirations take their place. 298. A part of you senses the trueness and the decency of these teachings, so release that part fully. 299. Take self-rescue seriously, which will enable you to take everything else lightly. 300. Think of the new pleasure it will be to go beyond yourself and live beyond yourself. Chapter 4. Discover real safety and security. A party of campers found themselves in a dry, unpleasant, and hazardous area near the base of a mountain. Observing their dissatisfaction, an experienced camper strolled over to offer some practical advice. If you want a safe and beautiful spot, he said, drive up higher the mountain. Go higher. In just those 2 words, you have a wealth of information and inspiration. There are 2 cosmic laws which every seeker should learn and ponder. 1. We live a safe or a hazardous life according to the inner level we occupy. And 2. By raising the quality of our thoughts and feelings, we arrive at the level of authentic safety and security. Perhaps you know men and women who constantly attract grief and misfortune. Think of just one of them, maybe a relative or friend. Notice how this person thinks and feels and acts. Try to see the connection between the quality or non-quality of their psychic system and what happens to them. See how their inner level attracts people and events on that same level. And conclude that like attracts like. The secret is out. A sincere and persistent attempt to think and feel right lifts us to the lofty level we really want to occupy. The secret is now yours. Use it for real safety and security, starting with the next lessons. Discover real safety and security. 301. Safety and security change from mere words to personal realities as these facts operate within. 302. When nothing seems to work, it is simply because we have not yet turned to reality, which alone can work. 303. If you can trust a tiger to guide you safely out of the jungle, you can also trust society for safety. 304. It is impossible to be disappointed when depending upon higher knowledge for guidance. 305. Ponder the refreshment of having a new and a pleasant relationship with yourself. 306. When we stumble, it is simply because we called something light that was not light at all. 307. Realize that these higher facts enable you to escape the human jungle while living in the middle of it. 308. Your escape is real, inner, invisible, having no quarrel with the human jungle because you are no longer part of it. 309. Our real escape begins the moment we no longer evade the fact that we do not know ourselves. 310. There is a part of you which does not fear inner or outer conflict, which you are now developing. 311. When living from our real nature, we never fear that others may see through us. 312. Correctly tell yourself how to live, and no one will dare to toss foolish advice at you. 313. Realize that only the imaginary world can be hurt, for that sets the foundation for the real world. 314. Religious ideas cannot supply inner security any more than a bread label can satisfy hunger. 315. When your ideas insist you are safe, but you feel scared, your feelings are telling the truth. 316. Right ideas are the first steps towards the inner mansion, but they are not the mansion itself. 317. The quality of your life will be the same as the quality of your self-insight. 318. The sooner we take the cosmic medicine, the sooner we can stop suffering from ourselves. 319. If you are quite sure that nothing can lift your heavy spirit, you simply do not see what can be seen. 320. The loss you feel is the loss of yourself, but happily, you can find yourself. A safe place. 321. Whether you know it or not, truth knows it is leading you toward a safe place, so why not confidently follow? 322. Lift your spirit just 1 degree above worldly affairs, and you will feel release from worldly conflict. 323. Anyone who thinks society's social schemes can banish anxiety should ask why they have not done so. 324. We react to events as we do because we know no other way, but a superior way awaits our discovery. 325. Separate what is your own from what is not your own, and insecurity is not your own. 326. Inward clearness knows exactly how to make the outward life go smoothly. 327. When the individual is right, his circumstances are right, for he is his own circumstances. 328. These teachings turn hazardous mental states into safe mental conditions. 329. When events do not obey your desires, know that real peace does not depend upon them doing so. 330. By psychic law we get what we actually give, which may be quite different from what we say we give. 331. The first faint realization that one is his own trap has already weakened the trap. 332. Feeling secure because of favorable conditions is like feeling safe while sleeping next to a cliff. 333. Only the security of knowing yourself as one with the all can stand against changing conditions. 334. Consciously risk the loss of something before losing it, and you will lose the fear of losing it. 335. The solution is a secret, only as long as we buy dreams instead of realities. 336. The sooner we stop playing little games with truth, the sooner we will have what we need. 337. Have no fear of coming to an end of yourself, for then you will know who you really are, which is peace at last. 338. The world we struggle with is not the only world existing for us. 339. We can vainly try to hold falsehood, or we can wisely let truth hold us. 340. The only way to win over this deluded world is to live inwardly above its hysteria. A higher good for you. 341. These teachings supply a higher definition of doing good things for yourself. 342. Everything begins to go right the instant one realizes they are not the surface personality they assumed they were. 343. It is necessary to see through ourselves, and any resistance to it maintains the slippery way. 344. Confusion in ourselves or in others is strengthened by fearing it, so fear not. 345. Catch yourself wandering in the past or future, and leap back to the liberty of now. 346. Walk into a situation consciously, and you will be able to walk out of it harmlessly. 347. When raising your level of cosmic comprehension, you also raise your value to yourself. 348. A foremost peril in life is to close the eyes to human nature, as it is in fact. 349. New safety begins the moment you suspect that the human condition is much worse than you imagined. 350. Rushing emotions have no more real power to sweep you away than a tiny brook can move a boulder. 351. Believing what we want to believe attracts what we do not want to attract. 352. A shocking experience is simply a lesson in seeing that we were asleep while dreaming we were awake, for reality is shockless. 353. A negative nature cannot be reformed, but it can be replaced by a cosmic nature. 354. True cheerfulness is not a result of exciting thoughts or favorable events, but is a poise resting upon its own oneness with the universe. 355. Learn what it means to hold out the lamp of consciousness before your daily path. 356. The world has no power whatever to enter and hurt the mansion within. 357. Real humility helps, and real humility consists of seeing. 358. We lose our petty plans with fear and trembling, only to win the cosmic plan with wonder and delight. 359. Truth alone is truthful toward us, which means that truth alone can help us. 360. Any spiritual remedy which must be fearfully and angrily defended is no remedy at all. The answer to all problems. 361. The cause of every problem is lack of insight into your real nature, so now you know the solution to every problem. 362. Everyone you meet gives you exactly what he or she is, so wisely discover what he or she is. 363. Reflect upon the powerful cosmic fact that the absence of inner enemies means the absence of outer enemies. 364. Cosmic insight can see how things will turn out, and therefore never starts anything that would end badly. 365. If you wish to know why self-insight is valuable, it is because harmony is better than conflict. 366. When really knowing the truth, we never need to anxiously convince ourselves that we know. 367. If feeling that you are not where you ought to be, follow it all the way to where you should be. 368. The plain fact is that you need not tolerate a mind that tries to bother you. 369. Each time you sincerely want to know why you suffer so much, you open the gate to eventual comprehension. 370. The only thing you need in any situation is for your mind to think clearly and intelligently toward it. 371. Mingle with right thoughts, and you will know what people to mingle with for right relationships. 372. Only those who really want to know will listen persistently to those who really know. 373. You were not placed in the world to wander aimlessly, but placed to discover the cosmic castle. 374. Fearing to lose our present wrong values is like fearing the loss of physical illness. 375. We are under social pressures only to the degree that we are not under cosmic influences. 376. Become aware of useless thinking and acting, and their burdens will fall off your life. 377. Notice the fear of losing the present security. Then let these principles conquer the fear. 378. Even while frantically seeking security in exterior sources, try to remember that real stability is found only in self-unity, attained through self-knowledge. 379. A safe relationship with yourself guarantees a safe relationship with others. 380. A safe relationship with yourself is the result of true spiritual rebirth. Win a new view. 381. The whole idea is to change your psychic position to win a new view of surrounding life. 382. It is not risky at all to risk the dislike of someone in favor of being and acting what is true. 383. Timid withdrawal into oneself as a means of feeling safe is the very cause of insecurity. 384. Refuse absolutely to let careless mistakes torture your mind, and you will learn to rise above them. 385. When the lower earnestly seeks the higher promptly allows itself to be found. 386. Live these teachings and live a secret life untouched by silly society. 387. At this moment, millions of human beings are sad and confused through lack of higher wisdom, but you need not be one of them. 388. The only true and strong reassurance on earth comes from your own recovered essence. 389. Anything that jolts your fixed position is trying to give you a new position which cannot be jolted. 390. Live from essence instead of surface personality, for your essence alone is free from threat and damage. 391. Cosmic power takes full responsibility for those who take, first, full responsibility for themselves. 392. An understood fear ceases to be a burden. For instance, the fear of being disliked, when understood, ceases to be a burden. 393. Self-leadership based in essence is the only kind of accurate and satisfying leadership. 394. Be fully aware of what you do not want in your life, and soon you will see what you do want. 395. Blows to our sense of security taken consciously will make us so secure we need never think about security. 396. Your daily actions will be as accurate as your level of being permits. 397. We are never really betrayed by other people, but are betrayed only by our own refusal to listen, to learn, to see. 398. Anything that forces us to face our actual confusion is always a friend, never an enemy, and we will eventually realize this. 399. Do not be dismayed when seeing you are not who you thought you were, for now you will know who you really are. 400. The real riches found by your own studies become part of your very nature, and therefore can never be lost. Chapter 5. You can succeed with cosmic confidence. Rain falls only once every several years in parts of the immense Sahara Desert in North Africa. Yet when rain finally falls, sleeping seeds in the earth awaken to create colorful scenery. The seeds had always contained their own self-power and self-confidence, and waited only for the time for creative expression of their inner naturalness. No matter how long we have been asleep to our natural confidence, receptivity to higher truths can awaken us. You, dear listener, can personally experience this. Exactly what is natural confidence? Our real nature knows, without even thinking about it. And we can find the answer for ourselves by first asking the interesting question, what is artificial confidence? Ah, that we know. We see it all around us in this shaky society. Bluff and bluster are certainly examples of false courage. Fearful defensiveness tries to pass itself off as strength, but is really a lack of inner poise. One may wonder what awareness of the artificial has to do with finding the natural. A vital principle makes this clear. Deep awareness of the false makes us want to drop it, leaving room for the true. It is like a sculptor who chips away at a block of marble to reveal the figure within. Keep this principle in mind as you proceed listening to this chapter. You can succeed with cosmic confidence. 401. Cosmic confidence arises from a clear knowledge that you are part of the universal whole. 402. There are 1,000 good reasons why you should seek cosmic courage, and not one reason why you should not. 403. One good reason for seeking celestial confidence is that it alone can conquer concealed frustration. 404. In the back of every unhappy feeling is a power which can be released to end the feeling. 405. You need not know in advance where the path is leading you, for it knows and will lead you accurately. 406. Agony has no life of its own, but is kept in motion only by our own unawareness of this great fact. 407. Anything that frightens you in your search for truth is false, so ignore it and march forward. 408. There is no need whatever to permit outer voices and influences to lead you astray. 409. Understand yourself, and you understand the universe, for you are a representative of the universe. 410. You are given the inner task because it is possible for you to succeed in it. 411. Force yourself out of your usual world on Monday, which will be followed by bewilderment on Tuesday, and by certainty on Wednesday. 412. Know that these facts are the true heroes who rescue us from the prison of misunderstanding. 413. These are not merely religious or philosophical ideas, but practical facts which create an inward new world. 414. When still living from the invented identity, all talk about confidence is empty words. 415. An authentic teacher knows all about your hidden powers and helps their development. 416. Personal understanding opens slowly or swiftly according to one's own degree of self-reliance and self-responsibility. 417. A conscious act is one in which there are no present doubts and no future regrets. 418. When you are quite sure you cannot be brave for yourself, you will attract cosmic bravery. 419. Truth is the conqueror of weakness, so what alliance will give you real strength? 420. False confidence depends anxiously upon something exterior, while real courage rests quietly in itself. How to command conditions. 421. You command a condition by having no negative attitudes toward it. 422. Harmful influences and harmful events cannot capture anyone with cosmic confidence. 423. Think of a problem that attacks your mind, then know that these ideas can free your mind. 424. You need have no doubts at all about the rightness and the power of the plans you are now absorbing. 425. Spiritual valor consists of getting up after a fall without looking around to see who witnessed your disgrace. 426. By bearing your own problems, you develop strength to end your own problems. 427. Cosmic confidence grows with the simple realization that truth exists, which few people really realize. 428. A real teacher helps you to find your own cosmic certainty, while a false teacher simply exploits you. 429. Truth knows exactly what you should do with yourself all day long, so why not let it tell you? 430. Mistaking dependency for personal strength is a major cause of shock and distress. 431. Shallow human confidence can be shaken with the smallest frown, but cosmic confidence has independent strength. 432. A form of false confidence which crumbles quickly is a hope that certain things will remain as they are. 433. Cosmic valor never falters, for it arises from God, truth, not from human thought. 434. When finding the real riches of your cosmic nature, you will find them inexhaustible. 435. The royal road to self-newness opens to anyone who patiently studies what it means to change his viewpoints. 436. You know what reality knows by blending into oneness with reality. 437. You can learn to walk past discouragement just as easily as you walk past a supposedly haunted house. 438. Self-unity is the same as rightness, and rightness is the same as permanent strength and effortless action. 439. Real competence in human affairs becomes possible only after the attainment of cosmic competence. 440. If your present way does not supply self-command, it makes perfect sense to locate the other way. Release real confidence. 441. Your true nature will be confident for you, so do your part of releasing it. 442. Invisible powers are with you from the start of your journey, as you will eventually see. 443. It is necessary to lose confidence in shallow human nature in order to win cosmic confidence. 444. Have no hesitation in losing confidence in artificial people, for it opens the door to unshakable poise. 445. Exhaust your own strength and cosmic power will come, but you must do it, not think it. 446. Cease to believe in the power of the imaginary self and watch the arrival of cosmic strength. 447. The more you ask from yourself in the inner task, the more you will get from yourself. 448. Naturalness thinks and feels and acts in quiet and commanding confidence. 449. Have no fear in not depending upon your present strengths, for that opens the door to higher powers. 450. Live from recovered essence, not imaginary identity, and self-doubt vanishes forever. 451. The artificial self is helpless, which should urge us to rise to the level of cosmic competence. 452. We need not hide anything from truth, for it never condemns us, but wishes only to help. 453. You will win inner victory sooner by not wasting energy and wondering whether it is possible. 454. If your life is in chaos, you are at the perfect starting point for seeking peaceful reality. 455. People fear to be without something to think about, but the end of this compulsion assures mental liberty. 456. Receiving facts that part of us does not want to receive is a sign of cosmic courage. 457. Learn to relax the mind, for a mind at ease flows with its full resources. 458. No one needs to remain timid any more than he needs to remain in a desolate desert. 459. Realize that higher forces try to reach and help you, so let them succeed by dropping mental walls. 460. Energy spent in feeling sad over inability should be spent in creating ability. You can change direction. 461. Truth changes your direction, so no mistake in your life ever sets a permanent course. 462. We collapse because we are shakily supported by mere ideas about self-strength instead of living from real strength. 463. Whatever you are asked to do for yourself, you are quite capable of doing for yourself. 464. Dare to rely upon your own hidden powers, even when you cannot see them. 465. When trusting yourself, remember that you are trusting your real nature, not your usual self. 466. Bravely enter into self-doubt, and one day imaginary confidence will give way to cosmic confidence. 467. Courage to face oneself develops swiftly by the persistent practice of facing oneself. 468. If you want the jewels hidden in the dragon's cave, have the courage to enter the cave. 469. Why depend upon the supposed courage of others when you can have your own real certainty? 470. The one way to invite real strength is to stop inviting the artificial strength of surface personality. 471. Right self-encouragement consists simply of receiving the facts about life, whether pleasant or unpleasant. 472. True confidence comes from self-insight, while false confidence comes from imitative ideas. 473. Each time you are consciously strong for another person, you increase your own strength. 474. The supreme answer is within you, just as the melody is somewhere within the piano. 475. A truly brave act is to cut off your own escapes into delusion and deception. 476. Have confidence toward inner success, for all the good powers in the universe will help you. 477. It is great encouragement to realize that truth will not tolerate human deception. 478. Dedication develops invisible forces, which one day will become visible to inner sight. 479. True explanations of life are alone capable of support in daily doubts and shakings. 480. Aid from cosmic confidence is the only kind of aid that will never fail you. A relaxing idea. 481. It is both relaxing and empowering to realize you need only continue with the inner adventure in spite of all difficulties. 482. Just as darkness cannot put out a candle, evil has no real power over goodness. 483. If feeling weak along the path, revive yourself with that fine power called endurance. 484. Real courage consists of repeatedly leaping beyond surface personality, even while fearing to do so, until all fear vanishes. 485. The secret of inner wealth is to meet an old condition in a new way. For example, try to understand a situation instead of agitating over it. 486. Refuse to give attention to senseless and haunting thoughts, and they will get discouraged and depart. 487. It is a happy day when one realizes he simply cannot afford to continue with his false confidence. 488. Unconscious smugness is a form of false confidence which must be dropped if we are to develop inwardly. 489. Make everyday decisions consciously, for this builds strength to make life-transforming decisions. 490. Your past can be changed in an astonishing way by seeing it with these higher truths. 491. When puzzled or discouraged, return to these ideas, for that act by itself adds strength. 492. Weakness is nothing but a temporary separation of the individual from his natural strength. 493. One day you will see that being yourself is the same as supplying yourself with endless strength and poise. 494. We have lost contact with our natural confidence, but can start today to restore it. 495. Distress is simply a wrong reaction which fades as we practice the right reaction of cosmic consciousness. 496. The vital fact is not the severe inner storm, but the fact that you can advance through it. 497. Develop a new inner efficiency, and it will extend itself to efficiency in exterior affairs. 498. When not knowing what to do with yourself, the perfect activity is the acquisition of self-knowledge. 499. You have a right side, and your real pleasure is to place yourself on that side. 500. These teachings unlock the doors leading to the refreshing life you really want.